Hello, hi students. This is B. Ishwaraya, Professor of Commerce. So, we are all learning financial accounting. Today's class is about how to prepare balance sheet. So, balance sheet also called as a position statement. Balance sheet is prepared after preparing the profit and loss account. It is a financial statement which shows the assets and liabilities of an enterprise as on a particular date. It is prepared at a particular point of time and shows the nature and value of assets. Value of assets. And nature and value of liabilities as on a given date. Hence, its title will be balance sheet of so and so company as an last date of the accounting year of that particular enterprise. This balance sheet will be having some specific characteristics. Those characteristics are: one is the objective for the preparation of balance sheet is to ascertain the financial health of an enterprise. It shows the nature and value of assets, the nature and value of liabilities, and the position of capital. And another characteristic of balance sheet is it's always prepared on a particular date as per the accounting year of the concern. Third characteristic is the total of the two sides of the balance sheet must agree because of the equation, that is assets equal to liabilities plus capital as per the double entry system. As we are following the double entry concept, so equation should be like this. Balance sheet, unlike a trading and profit and loss account, is not an account. It is a statement which contains information regarding assets, liabilities, and capital. The words to and by are not thus used in the balance sheet. It is prepared after the preparation of trading and profit and loss account, that is after transferring all the nominal accounts to trading and profit and loss account. The accounts which are left are termed as assets and liabilities. That means real and personal accounts of business, and are shown in the balance sheet. In India, assets are shown on the right hand side of a balance sheet, and liabilities and capital are shown on the left side of a balance sheet. In Europe and American countries, the usual practice is to show assets on the left side and the liabilities and capital are shown on the right hand side of a balance sheet. Since it is a statement, we can prepare at their interest. Which way they are interested, in that way they can prepare. As per the balance sheet, two important terms are there. One is assets, another one is liabilities. So, assets have been classified for recording in the balance sheet. Assets means the debit balance of those ledger accounts which have not been closed till the preparation of the trading and profit and loss account are shown on the asset side of the balance sheet. Kohler defines asset as any owned physical object or right value of money, an item or source of wealth expressed in terms of its cost, depreciated cost, or less frequently some other value. Hence, any cost benefiting a future period. So, this is the definition is given by Kohler about the assets. So, the assets have been classified into 5 types. One is current assets. Current assets are those assets which are held in the form of cash, cash in hand and at a bank. For their conversion into cash, that is stock of finished goods, bills receivable, debtors, temporary investments, prepaid expenses, outstanding income, etc. For their consumption in the production of goods or rendering of services in the normal course of business, for example, stock of raw materials, work in progress. These are also called circulating or floating assets, which are expected to be realized in cash or sold or consumed during the operating cycle of the business. The operating cycle of a business is normally a period of 12 months. When it comes to second type of assets, it is fixed assets. Fixed assets are those which are not held for resale. These are relatively for long term in the business. These assets are used in the production of other goods and services. Example, land and building, plant and machinery, furniture and fixtures, goodwill, patents and trademarks, etc. Fixed assets may be classified as two types. One is tangible fixed assets. That means those fixed assets which are physical resources and can be seen and touched. For example, land and building, plant and machinery, furniture and fixtures, motor vehicles, etc. Another type is intangible fixed assets. Intangible fixed assets are those which cannot be touched and seen and lack physical features. It represents legal rights and relationships beneficial for the owner. Example, patents, trademarks and copyrights, goodwill, research and development costs, etc. Third type of assets are wasting assets. It is that asset which diminishes in value with the extraction of a natural product such as mines, ores, oil wells, etc. These assets diminish in value when the assets are taken out of natural reservoir of those assets. Fourth type of assets are fictitious assets. These are those assets which do not have any concrete value. These are generally losses which are not written off. For example, preliminary expenses, issue expenses of shares and debentures, formation cost of a company, etc. The last type of assets shown in the balance sheet is contingent assets. Contingent asset is an asset which was defined by Kohler as an asset the existence, value and ownership of which depend upon the occurrence or non-occurrence of a specific event or upon the performance or non-performance of a specified act, contracts with contingent liability, often growing out of such a liability. For example, the undecided shoots for a property. So, these are the classification of assets which can be shown in the balance sheet. Another important part of balance sheet is liabilities. Liabilities refer to the financial obligations of creditors against the assets of a firm. These liabilities also classified into three types: long term liability, current liability, contingent liability. Long term liability refers to that liability which does not fall due for payment in a relatively short period. Relatively short period, that is normally not more than 12 months from the date of last balance sheet. For example, long term loans taken from banks and financial institutions, debentures, etc. When it comes to second type of liability, that is current liability, it refers to that liability which falls due for payment in a relatively short period, that is normally not more than 12 months from the date of last balance sheet. So that Kohler defines a current liability as a short term debt regardless of its source, including any liability accrued and deferred and incurred revenue that is to be paid out of current assets or is transferred to income within a relatively short period, usually 1 year or less, or a period greater than 1 year but within the business cycle of an enterprise. For example, bills payable, trade creditors, outstanding expenses, bank overdraft, etc. So, these are all current liabilities. Next, when it comes to contingent liability, these liabilities are not actually liabilities, but their becoming actual liabilities depend on the occurrence of certain events which are uncertain. Contingent liabilities are not recorded in the books of account and are not shown on the liability side of balance sheet, but are shown by way of a footnote of the bottom of balance sheet. For example, arrears of dividends on cumulative preference shares, bills of exchange discounted, suit for damages against the company, etc. So, these are the types of liabilities. By preparing balance sheet, assets and liabilities should be grouped and marshaled. That means the arrangement of assets and liabilities in a particular order is known as marshalling of balance sheet. The items in the balance sheet are marshaled or grouped in two ways. One is order of liquidity, another one is order of permanence. Let us know about the order of liquidity. So, in this way or in this method, order of liquidity, the assets are arranged in the order of liquidity. For example, the most liquid assets is shown first. The least liquid asset is shown at the last. The least liquid asset is one which cannot be easily converted into cash. The liabilities are arranged in the order of their urgency of payment. That is, the most urgent payment to be made is shown first. The least urgent payment to be made is shown at the last. Usually, the banking and financial companies, sole proprietorship and the partnership concerns prepare their balance sheet in the order of liquidity. That is, on liability side, current liabilities like bank overdraft, bills payable, outstanding expenses, sundry creditors, income received in advance. Under the head of long-term liabilities, loan taken from the institution, financial institutions and debentures, so and so on. Last one is capital. On asset side, under current assets, generally we will write order of current assets. First, cash in hand, cash at bank, bills receivable, sundry debtors, prepaid expenses, accrued income, closing stock. Investments and fixed assets. Under this head, furniture and fixtures, plant and machinery, building, land, goodwill, like this. So, this is called order of liquidity. When it comes to order of permanence, this order is exactly reverse of the liquidity method. The assets are arranged in the order of their permanence. That is, the least liquid asset. For example, goodwill is shown first and the most liquid asset, that is cash in hand, is shown at the last on asset side. The least urgent payment to be made, that is capital, is shown first and the most urgent payment to be made, that is short-term creditors, is shown at the last. The company, as defined under the Companies Act 1956, is required to prepare the balance sheet in order of permanence. Order of permanence. So, order of permanence is nothing but it is exactly reverse of the liquidity under. Liquidity under. See, this is the pro forma of balance sheet, which is also prepared in the method of order of permanence. See, you can observe here, this is also format of balance sheet. Title should be balance sheet of so and so XY company as on last date of the accounting year on which we are preparing balance sheet. Though it is not an account, it can be prepared in this manner also. That means left hand side liability side, right hand side asset side. Even balance sheet can be prepared vertically, but here I am showing you horizontal method of preparing balance sheet. See, liabilities in the first column, liabilities, second column, total amount of liabilities, next assets column, total amount column. See, on liability side, capital, that means which was introduced in the starting of the business or balance of previous year brought down has to be written first. Add or less, if it is net profit gained in this year, that is to be added. If net loss is incurred, that is to be deducted from the opening capital. Plus, if any additional capital is introduced, from that you can deduct drawings and interest on drawings. So, net capital which has to be shown in the balance sheet should be like this. Should be like this. When it comes to long term liabilities, debentures and loans. Current liabilities are income received in advance, sundry creditors, outstanding expenses like anything, outstanding salary, outstanding rent, outstanding taxes, outstanding so and so on, bills payable, bank overdraft, like this. All the liabilities are to be shown on liability side in this manner. On asset side, as per the order of permanence, we have to write fixed assets, goodwill, land, buildings, plant and machinery, furniture and fixtures. All these are all should be net values. That means if at all any depreciation is there, it has to be less. If any appreciation is there, that has to be added. Current assets also. Closing stock, accrued income, prepaid expenses, sundry debtors, bills receivable, cash at bank, cash in hand. After writing all these liabilities, assets, we have to add totals separately. When you add all these, you will get some total. In the same way, you have to add all these totals. Here also you will get some total, but here the magic should be both the totals should be tallied. Why? Because for recording transactions in the business, we have been following double entry system. When a concern is following double entry system, the balance sheet should be tallied. We should not make it tally, it should be tallied. So, that is the procedure of preparation of balance sheet. Preparation of balance sheet. Merely preparing balance sheet with the given balances is not right. Some of the items which are not recorded so far are to be shown in the final accounts, financial statements. Without entering those occurred in the accounting period are to be entered in the financial statements, in the trading and profit and loss account as well as balance sheet. So, those entries are regarding those adjustments we should know. Adjustment entries are those which are passed at the end of each accounting period for the purpose of adjusting various accounts so that the financial statements reflect a true and fair view of the statement of affairs of the business. So, those adjustments generally will have one is closing stock. It is the unsold stock at the end of current accounting period. The stock of finished goods is valued at cost or net realizable value, whichever is lower. By writing a entry closing stock account debtor to trading account, it is shown on the credit side of trading account and on the asset side of balance sheet as a current asset. If closing stock already appears in trial balance, then no adjustment is required to be passed, since it has already been taken into account while calculating the amount of adjusted purchases or cost of goods sold. Such closing stock will appear only in the balance sheet and not in the trading account. So, this is a compulsory adjustment will come in every final accounts. When it comes to outstanding expenses, these are those expenses which have been incurred but no payment has been made in respect of it. Then we have to pass an entry like outstanding expenses are to be credited, concerned expenses account has to be debited. So that concerned expenses account debtor to outstanding expenses account. That means it is added to the concerned expense. If it is a direct expense, it is shown on the debit side of the trading account. If it is an indirect expense, it is shown on the debit side of the profit and loss account. If outstanding expenses already appear in trial balance, then no entry needs to be passed. That means already these expenses have been adjusted while calculating the amount of concerned expenses. Hence, it will be shown only in the balance sheet and not in the income statement. Third adjustment is prepaid expenses, which are also called unexpired expenses, which means those expenses which have been paid in advance in the current accounting period, but the benefit of it will accrue in the next accounting period. The following adjustments are done regarding the prepaid expenses. For this, entry should be prepaid expenses account debtor to concerned expenses account. It is reduced from the concerned expense if it is a direct expense on the debit side of the trading account. If it is an indirect expense, it is deducted from the concerned expense on the debit side of the profit and loss account. It is shown on the asset side as a current asset, If prepaid expenses already appear in the trial balance, then no adjustment entry is required to be passed, since these expenses have already been deducted while computing the amount of relevant expense. Hence, it will be shown in the balance sheet as an asset and not in the income statement. Fourth type of adjustment will be accrued or outstanding income. Accrued income means an income which has been earned by the business during the accounting period but has not been received. For this, we have to write an entry like this: accrued income account debtor to concerned income account. So that it is added to the concerned income and is shown on the credit side of the profit and loss account and as a current asset in the balance sheet. If outstanding income already appear in the trial balance, then no entry needs to be passed. It will be shown as an asset in the balance sheet and not in the income statement. Fifth one, income received in advance or unearned income. That portion of the income which is unearned at the end of accounting period is known as unearned income or income received in advance. For example, insurance premium received in advance, rent received in advance, etc. For this, entry should be income received in advance account debtor to concerned income account, so that it is shown on the credit side of the profit and loss account by way of deduction from the concerned income and is shown on the liability side as income received in advance. For example, a business enterprise received rupees 900 as an interest for 3 years. Then in the first year only 300 of the interest will be said to be the income and rest 600 will be carried forward as a liability. If income received in advance appears in the trial balance, it will be shown on the liabilities side of the balance sheet and is not shown in the income statement. So, when it comes to depreciation, depreciation is the deduction in the value of an asset by way of wear and tear, lapse of time or obsolescence. For this, entry should be passed like this: depreciation account debtor to concerned asset account, so that it is shown on the debit side of the profit and loss account as an expense. It is shown on the asset side by way of deduction from the value of representative fixed asset. If depreciation already appears in the trial balance, then no adjustment entry is required to be passed, since it has already been taken into account while calculating the closing stock value of the concerned fixed asset. Such depreciation will be shown only in the profit and loss account and not in the balance sheet. In the same way, interest on capital. Interest on capital means the cost of using the capital invested in an enterprise by the proprietor. Interest so charged is an expense for the business on the one hand and again to the proprietor on the other. So, for this, interest on capital account debtor to capital account, profit and loss account debtor to interest on capital account. These two entries are to be passed. It is shown on the debit side of the profit and loss account. It is shown on the liability side by way of addition to the capital. Exactly to this in reverse, we have to pass entry for interest on drawings. Interest on drawings, it is the cost of using the sum of money or other asset withdrawn by the proprietor out of the business. It is a gain to the business and expense for the proprietor. So, that entry should be capital account debtor to interest on drawings. And also another entry for this, interest on drawings account debtor to profit and loss account. Since it is an income, it has to be transferred to profit and loss account, so that it is shown on the credit side of the profit and loss account as an income It is also shown on the liability side by way of deduction from the capital. When it comes to next one, abnormal loss of stock in trade. The abnormal loss of stock in trade is an avoidable loss, and is caused by the fire or theft, etc. Stock in trade might have been insured or uninsured. In the first instance, when the stock is uninsured and nothing is recoverable from the insurance company, entry should be passed like this: loss of stock account to debtor to trading account, profit and loss account to debtor to loss of stock account. In the second instance, when the stock is insured, loss of stock account to debtor to trading account. So, in this situation, the total value of the abnormal loss is shown on the credit side of the trading account. The total value of unrecovered loss of stock, that is total loss less amount, if any, recovered from insurance company, is shown on the debit side of profit and loss account as a separate item. The amount, if any, due from the insurance company is shown on the asset side as a current asset. So, let us learn very important adjustment. All the adjustments are very much important, but this is one of the important adjustment, that is bad debts. Bad debts refers to a debts which becomes irrecoverable. It is a loss to the business, and the entry should be passed. Bad debts account to debtor to debtors account. It is shown on the debit side of profit and loss account as a separate item. It is shown on the asset side by way of deduction from the debtors. When the amount of bad debts is given in trial balance, no entry is required. It should only be transferred to profit and loss account. Provision for doubtful debts. A provision for doubtful debts is a provision created to cover the loss of possible bad debts by means of a predetermined percentage of net debtors. That means debtors less bad debts. It is charged to profit and loss account and is deducted from debtors in the balance sheet. For this, entry should be profit and loss account to debtor to provision for doubtful debts account. As per this entry, it is shown on the debit side of profit and loss account as a separate item, and also it is shown on the asset side by way of deduction from the amount of sundry debtors. So, one more adjustment will be provision for discount on debtors. Provision for discount on debtors is the provision created to provide for discount likely to be allowed on good debtors, that is sundry debtors less additional bad debts given outside the trial balance and the provision for doubtful debts. Then the entry should be passed like profit and loss account debtor to provision for discount on debtors account. As per this entry, in the profit and loss account, it is shown on the debit side and also it is shown on the asset side of the balance sheet by way of deduction from the sundry debtors. In the same way, reserve for discount on creditors. It is the reserve created for discount on its creditors which is expected to be received from them. Then the entry should be passed reserve for discount on creditors account debtor to profit and loss account. The reserve for discount on creditors account is credited to the profit and loss account and it should be deducted from the sundry creditors in the balance sheet. However, it is not in line with the principle of conservatism. One more adjustment is goods sent on approval. Goods sent on approval basis means the delivery of goods to the customers but with the option to return them within a specified period. If the consent is not received during the accounting period, it can be treated as a sale. In such a case, entry should be sales account debtor to debtors account, stock account debtor to trading account. In the first entry, amount should be with the sale price. In the second entry, amount should be at a cost price. Thus, this item is shown on the credit side of trading account by way of deduction from the sales at a sales price and added to the closing stock at cost price. This item is also shown on the asset side of balance sheet as a deduction from sundry debtors at sale price and added to the closing stock at cost price. Sometimes goods also will be in transit. Goods in transit. Goods in transit refers to those goods which have been purchased but not yet received till the end of the accounting period. The goods should be treated as part of closing stock. It is shown on the credit side of trading account by passing entry like goods in transit account debtor to trading account. That means it is shown on the asset side of balance sheet as a current asset. Current asset. So, like this we have these many adjustments in the final accounts for preparation of balance sheet. Without learning, without making adjustments, if we prepare financial statements, will not give true and fair value of the business. So that these are all compulsory. With this I will end. Let us meet in the another class with another topic.